Welcome back to the Horse Racing Network, and you're joined by me as always. And I'm with racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Auster, and we have an extra guest this week with Jack Milner from Quiff. How are you guys? We're going to be taking a look ahead to Saturday's cards, starting with Doncaster, but could be a little bit of bad weather around. We're looking forward to previewing and getting some winners.
I think so. We'll be doing our best as ever. Jack's going to be chipping in and helping us along, which is great. But of course, a lot's going to depend on what the weather does, isn't it? Because if it's as bad as some of them suggest, then we might just have quite a challenge on finding horses that can swim as well as run fast.
Yeah, and I think it's going to need to be close to that. We're going to kick things off with the last kind of flat Group One of the season in the UK with the Futurity Stakes at Doncaster. But the weather there does look a bit ropey. So the ground is already described as heavy, soft in places, and there's actually a yellow weather warning for rain on Thursday. There's more rain around in the forecast on Friday. If you are going on Saturday, though, you might actually encounter a little bit of sunshine, which would be nice. But I think it's probably safe to say that you're potentially going to be looking at soft, heavy ground at Doncaster. Paul, you've got some interesting facts about the drainage at Doncaster, though.
Well, there you go. I've been introduced as knowing things about all sorts of things in my time, but never the drainage at Doncaster. No, all I wanted to mention was that it's already soft, heavy in places or something at Doncaster, maybe even heavy. Jack might know better, but when it pours down at Doncaster, and I have stood in many a rainstorm over the years on Town Moor and got soaked right through. The one thing I can say about it, it is one of the fastest draining tracks in Britain because I think it's on a kind of either limestone or chalk, I can't remember which makes the water drain through much quicker than many other tracks. So although a lot of rain is forecast, I think it would be a big surprise if it is abandoned. Have you ever suffered Doncaster in the rain, Jack?
I was there at the card in 2012. I actually backed the TriCast in the first race. God, I think it was Hawkeye. Then it was one of those Jim Goldie horses, the same type of five furlong horses that are always there or thereabouts around that time in the five furlongs handicap division. I'm gonna have to look it up because it's really annoying me. Talked about 500 quid on the TriCast and put it all on Steeler each way in the Racing Post Trophy. It said Nicholas Abbey won with Joseph O'Brien, pretty much with his bum in the air
Yes.
the entire way. And Steeler, like all good each way things, finished third in a seven-runner race. But no, I think that was soft that day. But I mean, the big race itself, you're looking for horses that realistically Derby horses. August Rodin won this a few years ago, didn't they? Going back way back when Motivator authorized. So you're looking at horses laden with stamina. We do a weekly column with Hector Crouch, who he's been in good form lately. He rode Cape Orator to win the big sales race on Arc Weekend. He will have his stamina stretched if it's a mile on soft ground. Him and the Race Becky team were really confident of him before both excursions over to France. He won at Deauville in August and he won at Longchamp on the Saturday of Arc Weekend. He would have a very good chance if the ground was good, but if the heavens are to open, it's going to be a mile on soft ground. You'd think the Balliol horses, which are laden with stamina, would be the ones that hold all the aces on Tamro.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see. Izzy's got a few words on who's entered or who may possibly run because at this stage we're still not sure, are we?
Yeah, so at the time of recording, we don't have final declarations, but at the top of the market, you have got two what we would call hot pot Aidan O'Brien horses with Hawk Mountain and Benvenuto Cellini. Oh, sorry, Paul, this
You're
is where you
Italian.
will absolutely annihilate me for my Italian there. You've also got Cape Orator, as Jack has mentioned, with Hector Crouch chopped up. You've also got Item, a dual winner for Juddmonte, Colin Keane and Andrew Baldwin. Oxagon going again, Action for Aidan O'Brien, and there's a few more for Aidan O'Brien in here as well. Obviously, I don't think he's going to run all what looks like 10 horses in this in this field, so this is going to cut up. But the market thinks the most likely two runners are Hawk Mountain and Benvenuto Cellini. I actually agree with you, Jack. I quite like the look of Cape Orator, and Item is taking my eye too. But Paul, you usually like one at a bigger price. Most of those are Aidan O'Brien horses.
Yeah, I think the first thing that you'd say about the 13 declarations that there are at the 5 day stage is that if Aidan O'Brien hadn't pitched in however many horses it is it 9 or 10, something ridiculous, 9, I think, then this race would be a non-event. You could also argue, of course, if there weren't all the Ballydoyle mob coming over, then maybe other trainers might be prepared to chance their arm. But I think it says a great deal about some of the issues that British racing is facing, which maybe we'll look into in other programs as we go along. But the two that do seem the most likely to run with proper chances are Hawk Mountain and Benvenuto Cellini, and on paper they have very similar chances. They're only rated £1 apart. I've just been watching this afternoon a few reviews of their latest last couple of victories. They've both won their last 2 starts, and they're both very, very nice horses. My view is that Benvenuto Cellini is probably the more likely, I think, to go on really deep ground. But we'll see. They both won Group 2s, and I think just as he seems to be a bigger price at the moment with some firms anyway, that will be the one that I would go for. Cape Orator has to step up on what he did in France, but he's certainly going the right way, and we know that he stays a mile, and we know he likes off ground. John Gosden is prepared to turn around Oxygen, possibly, but he's never gone on anything worse than good ground, so we really don't know. And of the others, well, Dorset, I think, is a horse who, just keeps on improving. So it wouldn't put it past him to go well. But I think we'll probably only see, a field of 6 in this race, maybe, at the final decks. And for me, I'd just be siding with Benvenuto Cellini.
Quite a nice little Group 1 to finish the season, though, I think, and some quite exciting chances. I mean, like you said, I think for me, Cape Orator, that performance at Longchamp, I was actually really quite impressed. And it was only that it was a couple of weeks previous that I'd actually been interviewing Hector Crouch for the channel that I was really paying attention and thought, oh, he's actually got a really good chance here. So it was really lovely to see him win and get a win on the big stage. So obviously that was ARC weekend for Cape Orator. So yeah, really, really exciting. And I mean, you're trusting the French going stick here, but it does say it was very soft on the track at the time. So it'd be interesting to see who can take that last one of the season. Obviously, that's in the UK. You've still got very exciting flat racing to come in Melbourne and the Breeders' Cup, which I'm sure we will take a good look at as well. But we're going to leave it there with Doncaster. We're going to move over to Cheltenham, where unfortunately the weather doesn't actually get any better. There's a yellow weather warning for rain at Cheltenham as well on Thursday. But things do brighten up on Friday with a little bit more sunshine, and sunshine as well for Saturday. So the going at Cheltenham is currently good to soft in places. I think that hopefully that rain will come just at the right time for the track. So hopefully there's no overwatering going on like there was at Ascot at the weekend with all the sand that was kicking up. Don't know if you guys caught that. But yes, fingers crossed Cheltenham doesn't turn into a de facto all-weather track with loads of sand on it. But we're going to kick things off at 2:55 and we're going to have a look at the Pertemps qualifier. So in here we've got some really, really nice horses. Top of the market, unsurprisingly, is Long Draw for Sean Bowen and Ollie Murphy. Marchand 2 is next. You've got Winning Smut, Chart Topper, Prince Saltar, Quantum Quest, a classic Cheltenham runner, Gowl Road. He always likes to come out at Cheltenham nice and early in the season. And you kind of go a bit bigger the rest there because there's still quite a few horses entered. There are a maximum field of 20. We've currently got 28 entries, so this is going to slim down. But does anybody take your eye, Jack?
I mean, it's really hard just to shy away from anything ridden by Sean Bourne at the minute. If this was AP McCoy, if this was a Ruby Walsh, he'd be getting so many more plaudits. He's just rode, trying to do the maths quickly, I think more or less a 200 to 1 4-timer today at Worcester. Him and Ollie Murphy formed a formidable partnership. He's had, in the last 14 days, he's had 23 winners from 56 rides, which is a phenomenal strike rate again because he's quite mild mannered, and the Boyne brothers seem to be going about the business without much fanfare. They get a bit overlooked, but again, 23 winners in the past fortnight when we haven't really got the chump season up and going yet. It's phenomenal, and I'm pretty sure whatever he rides, a lot of punters there this week, and we'll be looking at a lot of the multiples. He rode Wade out that made a winning chase debut in the beginner's share today. That'd be a nice horse to go out for in those famous Alex Ferguson, Jed Mason silks. But yeah, look, a lot of it you're going on the unknown. Highland would be an interesting one based on his form. Sorry, I've got the wrong race. So Tiny Tetley was a good second for the Hobbs team last time out, and I thought Winning Smoke was interesting coming over from Ireland. But a lot of these, you're almost taking at face value how fit they are, and do they have other much stronger races in mind? I'm trying to put it politely without saying the horses aren't possibly tuned up for this day. But if you look at the October meeting, the November meeting, and then pretty much then you've got big racing week after week with good prizes. There's a really nice 3-mile handicap hurdle at Ascot later in the year. There's a 3-mile handicap hurdle at Newbury's Hennessy meeting. So it's a nice spot to start with. And yeah, I think all eyes, if you start with any big handicap this weekend, you can do a lot worse than starting with Sean Bourne and Ollie Murphy.
Absolutely. Paul, are you agreeing? Are you liking the look of Long Draw? Are you drawn in by the form of Ollie Murphy, or have you got a couple elsewhere?
I'd be a bit worried about Long Draw if it rains. I'm not sure he's a soft ground horse, and if the rain hits Cheltenham, I think that would compromise his chance a bit. But you can't ignore the stable form. I think of the ones that are currently prominent in the market, I think one that Jack just mentioned there, Winning Smut, is very interesting for Gordon Elliott, because it was last seen winning a listed handicap hurdle at the Galway Festival, and although it's gone up a chunk, it looked to be a bit of a way ahead of the handicapper, and it also does handle soft ground. There's a couple that also over from Ireland that are doubly declared. Now, they're declared in this race, and they're also declared in the big chase that we're going to look at, which is at 220, which is the big 3-mile handicap chase. And these two are Lisnamult Lad for Ian Donoghue, who's a good trainer. Now, you may remember him as he actually last running at Aintree, he was second in the Topham Trophy to Gentleman de May. And he hasn't run over hurdles for quite a long time, and he's on potentially a fair mark. He also goes well fresh, but really soft ground might be an issue for him. The other one is Moon d'Orange for John McConnell. And John McConnell's a trainer that's been having a few winners here and there. And he ran this one against Hewick at 33 pounds wrong at the weights just a week ago at Thurles, and it was beaten less than 5 lengths. It was actually giving Hewick £1, which is ridiculous. And now it's potentially could run here off 128. So the problem being that with them both declared for the long distance handicap hurdle and the staying handicap chase, we wouldn't know where they're going to go. And I suspect a lot might depend on the state of the ground. So either of those two would be worth a second glance, but I think one that will probably be more than likely to run is Winning Smut, and I think he could go pretty well for Gordon Elliott.
Another one, sorry to interrupt, would be that would have a very good chance for. It's caught my eye is Mashan 2 7th, way down the field in the Albert Barler, but still got an only mark of 130, second season hurdler. He started off the season really well last year, second behind Celtic Dino, a nice mid-handle Wincanton. Built on that, won at Warwick, won at Windsor, was third in the River Don, when Well Fancied that day went off favourite. And Emma Lavelle's horse has started the season absolutely flying. She's had 6 winners from her last 6 winners from 12 runners in the last fortnight. And in my head, there are a few specific trainers that start the season really well, and this is the time to get them, whether it be Warren Graytrick, Charlie Longston, Emma Lavelle for me is one of those. She gets them really fit and ready to go throughout the summer, and then unleashes them at a couple of these meetings. So Mashan too, if that's declared off 129, I think that could be a really nice horse.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of trainers actually that are in pretty good form. I know you mentioned that you've got the form of Ollie Murphy, and he is currently operating at 50% strike rate, had a fantastic kind of string of winners today at Worcester. But you've also had with Gordon Elliott his string of winners over in America at Far Hills. Obviously, he's just come off winning the American National not quite sure we can call it a Grand National, but we'll go with the American National. Um, but so Winning Smart, I think, has obviously got a good chance. But Henry de Bromhead's also in very good form at the moment. He's operating at around a 20% strike rate, and he's got Quantum Quest in here for the double green. Obviously, Simon Munir and Isaac Swade. He could have a good chance here. He's coming off of a dual win. He's one that potentially might like the ground with a little bit more cut in it. Both his last wins have come on that kind of good to yielding ground over in Ireland. So he's probably one that I will keep an eye on. But yes, I think certainly we want those final decks. But if some of these near the top of the market are declared, I think it actually should be a good race, this one. You can see there's a lot of trainers very keen to get runs into their horses. So yeah, proceed with caution because we don't know who's the fittest yet.
I think one point to bear in mind as well is with these Patemps races is that, I can't remember, was it last year or the year before when they changed the rules so that it's only the first 4 that qualify to run in the final. So that means that all those horses that were kind of dobbing around the back and then just making a little bit of late headway to get in 5th or 6th, they can't really do that now. So it's got to be, a little bit more truer run possibly. And I won't say to try a bit harder because, it's about getting there on the day. But I think the fact that it's just the first 4 that'll go to Cheltenham if they want to makes it that much more serious and a bit more pressure on even at this early stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously from there, we've been taking a look at a 3-mile race. You've got another one happening just before that at 2:20, where we've got a handicap chase. So as Paul mentioned in our last segment, quite a lot of double entries here, and at the top of the market you've got Rock My Way for Brendan Powell and Joe Tizard. You've also got Highland, who was a horse that had a fantastic start to last season and then pulled up towards the end of the season for Nicky Henderson. You've got King's Threshold, Melina Girl. Gavin Cromwell usually chucks a couple at this meeting and the November meeting. The Changing Man, probably one of the most frustrating horses from last season, holds an entry here. Ho Jolie Smoke for the Skeltons. Lisnamolt Lad has got an entry here as well. And I'm going to say Bigger the Rest again here because just like the last race we looked at, we've currently got 25 runners. Only 20 can actually run. So this will cut up a little bit. Where does our attention go here, Jack?
We've all got our Cliff horses, haven't we? And again, we spoke very briefly off air. The Changing Man. I know you want to ask Scott. I don't know why you back him that day. I thought he was a little bit short. Was it a 400? The race clips, yeah. I hate 400 races. And the Henderson horse was back like the other thing that day. So he was 70. He ended up winning by 20. It was like 25 lengths, didn't he? And I was kicking myself because I had a proper bet on him the month before when he was second in the Great Yorkshire Chase. He danced every dance last year. He's a phenomenal jumper. I don't think he'd have any concerns about the ground. He wouldn't want it too soft. He was second, I think, on Midlands National Day a couple of years ago, maybe 18 months ago. But he does like a sounder surface. He was great second in the Ultimate Way. He's just bumped into just a plot job on it with Mertown. It looks like he'd probably be an entry horse this time round. But the Changing Man, if he's fit and well, he came down on his seasonal debut last year. He chased some Stay Away Fade the year before. I like him off 142. I think he's got a great chance providing he's fully fit. And Man of the People has got a great record around Cheltenham. He's twice a winner, both at the April meeting. I think he was also at Paddy Berrin retired on 12 months ago. But I remember him going to the Third Globe Bryan Yard a few years ago, and they thought he was a really, really nice horse. He's come alive at fences, and he seems really well handicapped for a mark of 135. So the Changing Man, I have to back him. He could have conditions that wouldn't be optimal for him, and I still got to back him because it's too hurtful then to see him win without my hard-earned on. So yeah, him and Man of the People would be two, but I'd be looking for when the final bets come through around tomorrow 11 o'clock.
Oh, I don't want to upset you, Jack, but I did back him that day at Ascot, and I was absolutely buzzing when Jinko Blue fell. Obviously.
I think I've been a soft play centre with my 3-year-old, and I'm trying to watch on my phone going, he's absolutely clear. And you watch him go further and further, all right?
Yeah, they just couldn't get him. But the thing is, you've got to give the Changing Man his due. He is a very consistent horse. You look at his form figures, he's never out of the places. What about you, Paul? Are you on that same vein? You like the look of the changing man or man of the people?
I think this is a cracking race. You know, for those of us that, if we had a gun put to our head and had to choose between flat and jump racing, would go with jumps, as I would.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then when this first meeting at Cheltenham comes around, it just gets you buzzing a little bit, doesn't it? Because you see these terrific horses that we see coming back year after year and, you know, taking each other on. And this is a really good race. I mean, you know, even if we only get half the field declared eventually, even if there's only 12 or 13, it'll still be good. But I reckon we'll probably have at least 16 going there. Now, I see they've got Rock My Way as the early favourite for Joe Tizard. And he was last seen finishing 5th in the Scottish National, and he was 2nd in the National Hunt Chase. So he stays, but he needs decent ground. And I did notice that, of course, he's the stable companion, isn't he, of the Changing Man. And Brendan Powell, who's a terrifically talented jockey, and be that as it may, he's jocked up on both, so he's not going to ride both in the same way. So
He's not that good.
I think I think that's quite interesting that they've actually jocked him up on both. So they're obviously going to wait and have a look at the weather and decide which one they think has got the better chance, maybe. But I've got a feeling that poor old the Changing Man might have to give best to another Gavin Cromwell runner, because I do like Melina Girl here. And Gavin's another trainer in great form, and he had that wonderful achievement over in Czechoslovakia, or Czechia, as they call it now. When he won the Velkopada Beachy, the great ridiculous chase there over in Czechia just last week. That was an amazing training performances, and he's had plenty of other winners. So I just think Melina Girl, who's got a good record at Cheltenham, she was 3rd in the Ultima, and she'll handle soft ground, and she stays very well. I think she is one to have on your side. The other one, if I had to have a saver in the race, would be 3-Card Bragg. And 3-Card Bragg is another Gordon Elliott horse. It was 2nd in the, what do you call it? The Kerry National. That was it. The Kerry National at this stole behind a well-handicapped horse of William Mullins's. So I think this is a pretty classy horse. And that would be the other one that I would throw into the mix. Of course, just to remind viewers that we are looking at this before the final declarations, which is why we're giving, you know, a couple of suggestions. But what about you, Izzy? Where's your hard-earned cash going to go?
Wow. I know that we've spoken quite a lot here about trainers in form, and I'm kind of going to look at one that isn't necessarily, but not because he's having loads of runners, but mainly because he hasn't had many yet, and that is Nicky Henderson. I feel like forgiving Highland for that performance in the Grand National. It's not for every horse. And, you know, I think he obviously pulled up, but I would have said before that, he was going really, really nicely. I mean, like incredible form, really, when you look at it, to be kind of 1st and 2nd. And he also is a horse that loves Cheltenham, won at this meeting last year, actually, over 3 miles. So I think that he's one that I think at the moment you can get around 8-1, quite a nice price. Obviously, this could cut up more. I might have a couple of pounds in advance, because I think because he ran in the National as well, and because he's a more well-known horse, a Nicky Henderson runner, I do think his price will likely shorten from the 8-1. And I think I'll probably be sticking there. I'm the same as you, Jack. Well, I will definitely will
Sound like Aidan
have
O'Brien.
a saver.
Definitely possible.
Definitely possible that I will have a saver on the Changing Man, because I am a sentimental better. I think that followers of the channel have picked that up. We're definitely not tracking my profit and loss at this point. But yeah, the Changing Man for me, and Highland.
Excellent. And the Changing Man for me, and Man of the People.
Awesome.
And I'm going with Melina Girl and 3-Card Bragg. So we've got quite a few there for people to take a look at. Yeah. And if we don't find the winner between us,
we might have half the field.
Yeah.
But that is all we have time for this week on our preview of Saturday's racing. Before we go, guys, I'm going to come out to you. Have we got any other business, any fancies elsewhere? Because we have got other racing on this weekend, Paul. I think there was one at Newbury you had your eye on.
Yeah, just very briefly. Again, we're expecting it's going to be very testing, I think, at Newbury. And that long home straight takes some getting, you know. But the 3:15 race is the Group 3, the St. Simon Stakes. You know, decent race, quality over a mile and a half, and a horse called Stars in Their Eyes, I think, has got a bit of a chance here. It was a very decent 2-year-old who handled the soft ground really well, and it's only had the one run this season. So it's going to come there a lot fresher than a lot of the other horses. And also last year, as a 2-year-old, it won over a mile and a quarter in the Group 3 Zetland Stakes at Newmarket. So this extra couple of furlongs, I'm sure, is going to suit this horse. And it did shape very well, I thought, in a listed race on its comeback. So that one, unexposed 3-year-old, going up against lots of old favourites, potentially like Hamish and those kind of horses. But this could be an improving 3-year-old on ground that will suit. So that would be one for maybe having a second glance at.
I used to love that show, Stars in Your Eyes. It was great.
Tonight,
Yeah,
Matthew, I'm going to be.
yes.
Yeah,
Jack, anyone else for you this week?
there's a horse I've been following all year. Hasn't really had conditions to suit, and I don't know whether they will have on Saturday. A horse called Lord Roxby for the Tinkling. I'd done really well at Hamilton early in the season, off a six on mark of 78. He does stay 7 furlongs, but whether he stays 7 furlongs on heavy ground is another issue. He runs in the 5 o'clock, which is a 7 furlong handicap. If the ground isn't too wet, he's back down to a pound above his last winning mark. I think he's very well handicapped. And another who has a very good chance is a horse called Valvano. Again, I speak to Hector Crouch every week, and he was adamant this horse was a potential. It had the potential to win a very big handicap for the Becky Yard last year. He was 3rd at the Ebor meeting at York, over a mile and a quarter. He was in 5th in the November handicap. He was sent off favourite, and he hung really badly. He ended up coming down the near side rail. He ran over 9 furlongs last time out, and I don't know whether he didn't stay. He didn't seem to have, nothing went right from that day. He's now back down to a mile, and I think from what he's told me, they're going to ride him quite prominently. Especially if it's heavy ground, he's going to stay better than a lot of his competitors. Valvano in the mile handicap, I cannot say. He has said this for about 12, 16 months. This horse, they thought he would be a group horse last year. So yeah, Valvano for me, I will be following off a cliff once more.
Okay, well, fair enough, guys. Thank you for your extra selections this week. Hopefully, between all of us, we've picked some kind of a winner for you, and we'll be back next week to find out. I hope most of you also back Kalpana at the weekend. Obviously, she was one of our ones to watch, and I had to get that in there before we finished. But thank you again for joining us, and join us again soon.